Welcome to another edition of CEOs You Should Know. My name is Eric Lemieux, and I am here with Nick Bufano, President and CEO of Alliance Orthopedics. Nick, thank you so much for coming in. You made the trek from Jersey today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. This is a great experience. Looking forward to it.
We're thrilled to have you on here. Listen, we're excited to have you on with us today. Your story is incredible. You've overcome a lot to get to where you are. You want to give us a little background on you?
Yeah, it started from day one. When I was born a congenital heart defect. I had tetralogy of Fallot, and it was about a good 8 months of trying to figure out how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
For your audience out there, I always put it in perspective when I give a kind of a conversational piece regarding it. You know, if you have a child and you held the child more than 5 minutes and they would cried, what would that look like? Well, for me, I couldn't cry for more than 5 minutes, or else I died. The hole in the heart, lost oxygen to the brain. And realistically, if that happened, unfortunately back in the late 70s, there was really not much options until surgery was the option eventually. Yep. So, it was, a really good piece of the story for myself, because I got to understand healthcare at a whole new lens from day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, look where you've taken it from there. So tell me a little bit about Alliance Orthopedics. You've been with the company, you said, for, was it 18 years?
So I've been in healthcare for 18 years.
Yep.
I started a management consulting in 2012 and 13,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Alliance Health Systems. And I really focused on helping doctors put systems together to support their expertise, so they can really take care of people the way I was taken care of as an infant.
Yeah, I got to think, like my kids are growing up, they're young. My 6-year-old's like, I want to be a teacher. My 12-year-old says, I want to play softball for a living. Were you always like, I want to be involved in healthcare? You grew up kind of in that world.
I grew up in the world. I always wanted to be in hospitality, in service. I felt like there was, and that's kind of where my schooling took me to.
Mm-hmm.
And I focused heavily on the industry. And when I learned a lot about really high-level customer service, I kind of tied that back into a lot of my tools that I use today for how we deliver service to patients and physicians. Mm-hmm. So I think that's been the genesis for our ultimate success, really focusing on delivering service.
Excellent. Love that. Let's dive a little bit into Alliance. Tell me, how does it stand out against the competition? What makes you guys a little different?
When I think about when I got into it, and like I said, management consulting, and then, about 6 years into it, I was doing a lot, and I realized a lot of people wouldn't put the systems in place, and they wouldn't stick to the systems. They get successful, and then they stopped doing it, and it was, when I met a few doctors, we really put a MSO, a super group together, and became Alliance Orthopedics in about 2018. And it was really everybody focusing on a trend that was needed, where a lot of doctors were losing their independence to hospital systems or these super groups that were different sponsors coming in. And I formulated a really good relationship with a lot of doctors who wanted to, keep their independence. And that was important for me. And, really when we look at what we've built, we're building on tools that really focus on efficiency and feedback. And the more we have those tools, the more we've been able to grow and really stand out versus individuals and groups that are not investing in those tools. Okay. And those tools are from, data point research and AI in the back end, and to the modalities that are in each facility on the front end. And I think that's really, a separating factor for us.
So it's pretty much everything from that first appointment that you have with the patient to the end, to recovery, to the PT that they need to do to get back up into shape, right? So it's everything in between.
It starts at the first phone call,
Mm-hmm.
right? The intake form even goes before that. How people perceive us in the community, online, our brand. Period. What does it actually mean? What are the standards of it? Does it build confidence without even a conversation? And then as soon as the first conversation happens, where a patient would be calling into the organization, making sure they're being seen, heard, understood, and feel that positive effect, right? So when you think about my history of where I was in school, and I was a Wall Street guy for many years, about 5-6 years, and then I was in a bad car accident in 2006, that's really transformed me to dive fully into healthcare,
Mhm.
I saw this huge gap, and the gap was really doctors were very black and white, and everything was that way, and patients weren't being seen, heard, understood anymore.
Yeah.
And I really looked at that. I said, okay, how do I play a role as a management consultant? And I was able to help a lot of individuals and doctors until I founded the Alliance Orthopedic and really transformed that piece.
I like that you mentioned bedside manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important when you go to a doctor, you go to a surgeon, anyone that you're seeing. You want that person to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that, again, it goes back from the intake call. When somebody comes on the intake call, basically we're following their guidelines, how long they've been dealing with an injury or their illness, and really understanding what's been going on, what matters to them, what can't they do, what are some of those challenges that they need to overcome. It's not just, hey, we have a doctor to support and fix this for you, but what is it that is really lingering, so we really address those things, and they feel right out of the gate that, all right, somebody's listening to me, somebody's hearing me out, and I'm going to have the best care. And that really drives into each facility that, we've built. And that standard of communication has really built a camaraderie internally with the team, but also externally in the communities where they build trust with the important, avatars such as, the township police and the athletic directors and the athletic trainers, so to speak, in each sector of these school systems and the community of public work. So from that perspective, it goes a long way when, people now need to be, again, seen, heard, understood more than ever.
Yeah, and that, from what you're saying, that makes it seem like a community organization, community-based facility, right?
Yeah.
Doctors that are, local, that are from here and know the town and know the cities. And
Yeah. And I think that's the key too, is accessible.
Yeah.
Having a team that and patients have access to communicate with their doctor, and ensuring that they feel comfortable to ask questions. A lot of patients, I've seen they just follow, and that's what they said, but they get intimidated to ask questions to physicians or anybody. And we really want an open dialogue. We want feedback, at all aspects of the industry and the business, where we can learn from it. And grow from it. And I think that's one of the really important factors, and what separates what we've built in the last, I would say, 5-7 years, is that, Alliance Orthopedic has about 12,000 5-star online reviews on Google.
Wow.
And these are life-changing reviews. These is not like, so people go in depth and really get excited about the team that's there, and really knowing that they genuinely care about their long-term health and well-being. And I think that's the most important piece of the growth for us.
By far. Being somebody that grew up playing sports, bad back, shoulder that would dislocate every time playing football, playing basketball, sports injuries is a big thing there. What are some of the things that you guys really thrive on? What do you specialize on?
Exactly what you just said. From anywhere from the youth sports to our population, our age, that is weekend warriors, and we thrive on making sure that people are doing what they love, finding a path where they don't live life with limitations, they live with life with opportunities, and that's what really gets the doctors and the facilities excited. Is really having patients not say, okay, this is my life now, and I'm going to stop living the way I want to live because of this injury or illness. They actually have the tools and resources inside of each facility to be served at a higher level. And we take a lot of pride in our modalities. And when I say modalities, the higher level equipment that we have in our places. We have more advanced equipment than the New York Giants and New York Jets. So we take a lot of pride in that. We take a lot of pride in making sure that every patient has access, whether they're your pickleball player to your high school football star, and to a anybody in between. Mm-hmm. And from that perspective, the open mindset that we have, it's really great to see that you have somebody at 50 to 70 years old doing high level activities next to somebody who's 20 years old doing that, and they're really rooting for each other to get better every day.
I'm glad you mentioned pickleball. How many, how has business been since pickleball started? What, 3-4 years ago? It became a cultural phenomenon. Like people are all into it. You go by any park, anywhere, you see hundreds of people from the 20s to 40s, 50s, 60s playing pickleball. I'm sure that's
Pickleball's great.
a lot of injuries around it, though.
There's a lot of injuries, but you know what's great about pickleball? Not that the injuries, but
Yeah.
it really focuses on motor skills, and I think a lot of our population, especially our older population, really enjoy it because they become so sedentary that they stop focusing on the motor skills, and I think that's why it's so addictive because they feel stimulated. But yes, we do have a huge patient population that actually
Coming in.
that are avid pickleball players that love diving on the hardwood and fracturing their wrist and asking,
Yeah.
"Can I play in 2 weeks?" Because we have want to play in this tournament that's coming up, and so it's definitely a phenomenon that has been super exciting to be around. And we do, I think, our organization has about 6 or 7, regional partnerships in these pickleball communities, and really showing them how to stay healthy dinking.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about innovation. What are some of the things that you guys are doing that's making you kind of stand out a little bit more?
Yeah, so that's really the, my focus on the management side is really technology, and we use data and AI for everything, and ensuring that our efficiency of service is and our response time to our doctors' needs and our patients' needs are getting better every day. And what I mean by that is that anything from a standard MRI, looking at frequency, how long it would take for that to get authorized and approved when ordered, to the service of the MRI, to the service of any type of interventional procedure or any physical therapy or occupational therapy modality. So we look at those things, we measure them, and we try to find ways and tools on our back end systems to really drive how to become more efficient. And the more we invest and focus on those tools, the better the outcomes have been for both, again, the doctor and the patient, and that has helped us continue to grow. And because we focus on innovation so much, it's really, the marketing becomes easy. And what I mean by that is that people feel that if they want to get the result they're looking for, they're gonna call Alliance Orthopedics.
And I'm sure word of mouth is big. A lot of people are telling their friends. They're posting on social in the recovery room, right? You're getting a lot of people that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point. We're here today because one of our team members that has been instrumental for us in one of our locations has a family member that works for this company, and he's been a huge asset for our success. And one of the things that we always pride ourselves on in any facet of the organization is that we want to be able to leverage everybody's experience and knowledge, and not and be open-minded to the team members' feedback and abilities to help each facet of the business. So I think from that perspective, it's just building an ecosystem that allows the 500 team members at Alliance to feel they're a part of something. And that's been my dream for forever, is to ensure that, everybody's aligned and kind of focusing together to make it themselves and their peers better every day, and their family too.
Yeah, it empowers people. It gets people that much more invested in it, in the mission.
Yeah.
That's great. So you guys are in New Jersey. You have how many locations?
There's currently 8 locations and 2 ambulatory locations, and we are in the process of some expansion. And in one of our locations, we're diving into Alliance Performance, which is a partnership with Parisi. Parisi's speed and performance is ranging. I think there's about 1,000 affiliates and 100 speed schools throughout the world, and they really dial in with high school and collegiate and professional athletes. So that's an area that we are making a huge advancement. And then we're also making advancements in imaging. We're bringing our own imaging in house, so we'll have MRIs. So patients have more access and the ability to get served in a much more efficient manner. So, people's time to me matters. They have other better things to do than deal with ailments and injury. And if we can help serve them in a more, efficient manner, I think that's where the the ultimate success lies for healthcare. And I think that's where our focus has always been, is trying to find ways to serve somebody bigger than ourselves and serve that community.
Yeah, that's great. That's great values to have. I, looked through Google reviews before just to hear a little bit more about what people are saying. Everyone says wait time, you get there, you check in, and they take you right away. Like that's very important for that.
Yes.
So I commend that. I've always hated going to a dentist and you're there for an hour and a half before they see you. And all right, so let's talk about like personalized treatment.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what somebody needs? Like everyone's got something different.
Yeah, so I think that's the key right from the intake, right? Everybody's life is different. Everybody's goals are different, and I think what we've built in technology is that we've allowed them to outline it from the intake of the call, but also the intake of paperwork that they fill out, and then we measure that. Are they getting the tools and resources from the physicians, and then we one of the biggest things that really helped us is that we don't get satiated. What does that mean? Is that we have quality assurance across the board. Okay. I have team members, and we have an office in Aruba that oversees and hears every phone call that happens amongst every patient that comes in, and scores them and gives them guidance to make sure that did we listen to what they actually had to say? Did we write those things down? So the doctor has actually the ailments and the goals of this individual, and then did the doctor address those goals? So really, everybody gets that individualized care. It's not like, hey, you have this, you get that. It's what do you want to accomplish going forward? What matters most to you? Yes, obviously feeling better and being pain-free, but what are some of the things you want to get back to, whether it's golf, pickleball, running, and working with the team to really create the insurance, the layers there, because as you get bigger, you want to make sure that your standards don't waver, and that's where the technology really comes in to kind of tease out those points and really use it for coaching. And have accessible points where they can see where they can improve. And I think that when you have an open-minded organization and they understand that you have a standard, that everybody's really driven to really look at data in the best possible way to say, how do I improve? Because it's going to help more people be better every day.
Yeah, of course. I got to tell you, Nick, I'm sold. I'm in.
I appreciate that.
Listen, this was great having you here. Nick Bufano, President and CEO of Alliance Orthopedics. Thank you so much for coming in. We're very excited to work with you guys and set up a partnership and see how we can collaborate together.
Awesome.
But thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was such an honor to be here with you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.